So welcome all. This is our fifth meeting on 25th July. And before we start, I may want to say sorry to certain people who have questions already pulled in, but there are so many that I received that I might have to extend or maybe cover those in next meetings. So I'll try to cover as much as we can do today. And then whatever is left, we can discuss it maybe in the next weekend meeting. So let me, okay, here I am. Okay, so here we are of question. I see that people are adding questions. More and more people are getting added to the meetings, which is good. I'll try to keep pace as much as I can as we go forward, if possible, every week, and then try to answer questions if I can. And if anybody want to present someday, feel free. Let me know, and you can present any particular day. I have no problems with that. If there is a specific topic that you think we should talk about and dedicate a particular weekend, we can surely do that. And if I know about it, very good. If any of us know about it, that's also okay.
Okay.
So let's quickly jump into questions that were there. And if time permits, then we'll also take some questions from here if you haven't added it. So the
Okay.
first one for this week is for BC16 2020 Wave 1. And the first question, and I don't know, Bandru, you are here or not. The first question was how to upload an app file having license object rain in BC online trial sandbox, directly selecting the app file. So let me open my trial version. This is my trial demo. So to upload an app or extension, you'll go into setup an extension, and this is for online version. Once you are here, you can click on manage and choose upload extension. Once you do that, you need to choose the app file that you want. I should have one for today, not this one. Let me see if I find that folder where it is. Okay. Okay. Once you select your app file, there are options to deploy to current version, next minor release, which is in terms of on-prem, you call them cumulative updates, and next major release, which is next wave that is coming up. So these are the three options that you can choose to. Then you need to accept accept that agreement, the disclaimer, and then click on deploy. Once you click on deploy, it kind of goes in the background and start the deployment process. So right now you'll not see it here, but you can always see the progress of it from the deployment status action in the same page. I'll tell you that it's getting published or upload is in progress. So once the upload process is over, you'll see that extension here in your online trial version or online version of Business Central. So here it is. It's now available. So now it's available as an app in your trial tenant. So let's see what the second question was. The second question was how to upload an app file having license object range in BC on-prem, directly selecting the app file. So this is not possible. You cannot do a app file publish from Business Central on-prem installation, but instead of that, you can use PowerShell. So it will work something like this. This is the 3 command sequence to make a app available on your on-prem tenant, which is first you will publish that app with the path name, and if it is code signed, then you don't need it. If it is not code signed, then you need a skip verification. Then you need to synchronize that app against your current database or current tenant. So this is how you do it. The mode add means you are adding a new extension in your on-prem installation. And then once sync is complete, you can do the install nav app with the app name and then the service name. So with these three commands, your app can get published on BC on-prem. You can always choose to install from the client. It's not mandatory to run it from PowerShell. So this is my local Docker. If I go to extension management and this one is not installed, if I want to, I can install it from here. So install command, PowerShell command is optional. You can either do it from PowerShell or from your extension management page. But these two, you'll have to run it from PowerShell to add an extension on BC on-prem. Okay, let's go back. And the third question was, can we use
So can I
online?
ask? Sorry for the disturbance.
Go
So
ahead.
can I ask? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yes, sir. In this point number one, so are we using the developer object range actually? So in that
Yes.
scenario, if it is successfully uploading in the online tenant using the upload option, but when I am using the
Mhm.
license object range, it is restricting actually. Is there any other possibility for this?
What is license project range? ISV range?
Yes, yes, sir. Actually, our company got some object range for our development. So we are not using the default development object range what is Microsoft is providing. So we built our app using that whatever we got for the
Okay.
object range Microsoft.
Right. So that's not possible on the trial versions because your license that is attached to your online trial versions does not have permission to your object range. What I would suggest is to create a Docker environment on the Business Central online image and use that to test all your processes. It it's same like you are seeing my this Docker image. Where is it? This one. This is a Business Central online Docker container image that I'm using for this. So you don't have to rely on the trial versions of Business Central. You can always set up a Docker container to set your to test your ISV that you are building, because then you have option to upload the license in the database. Does that make sense?
Yeah, means you are telling only in the Docker related containers which we can do that, but not in the direct SaaS wise.
Yeah, because your object range is not allowed in your trial versions. Either you need to purchase a BC version and then make sure that your extension is part of it. So if you are just doing development, I would suggest to use Docker containers, and you can choose the image, the BC SaaS image. So the last question that you had was, can we use the online object range for on-prem? And I think I'm clear that you are only asking for ISVs. So here is the number series that are specific to Business Central. So if you create an object as in the first number series 0 to 49,999 is the Business Central base application. So nobody can use this range. The other range is the customization range, where you can always add customizations for your customer. And this range is free on customer don't need to purchase objects as they used to do in on-prem versions for this range if they are using BC online. The third one is uh, for the localization. that Microsoft builds, as in for US localization or Australian localization. So this is that range which is logged with Microsoft. So first and the third are logged with Microsoft, and then this range is for our registered solution program, RSP, or uh, ISVs that you call. And this range is supported on-prem and online, both the places. So if you build your ISV in this range, it is supported in on-prem as well as on SaaS. And if your ISV is registered in this range, then this is only for SaaS only. So if you build your ISV in this range, then your ISV will only work on Business Central online versions, not on on-prem. So hope that answered your questions.
Yeah, fine.
And okay, let's move.
Saurabh,
Yeah,
there's one query related to the app file upload. What I have
yeah.
experienced is that when I upload an app file in a production environment, what happens? Sometimes it comes to the unknown status. So that ideally, I don't understand why this happens twice or once in a month. I see that this happens. The status comes to unknown.
And then it never get changed.
No, it never get changed. But when I increase the version and redeploy it, it get deployed successfully. But I experienced this once or twice in a month.
It may be around the time when your online tenant was getting upgraded, maybe, because I haven't seen it, so I can actually cannot comment on it. But it may be that when you're trying to upload or install your extension, at the same time behind
Okay,
the scene, Microsoft is trying to upgrade the customer tenant to the next minor or major release.
okay, okay, great. Hmm.
Maybe you can check with Microsoft, they should
Sure,
surely provide that info.
sure.
Okay, Sahid, you said you have some questions in the chat.
Yes, I mean, in the same topics, I am also facing a few issues. My environment is BC14, and actually, I yesterday I published one extension, and it was successfully published in that on-premise version. But problem is that when I run, so some more scenario are there. I have two licenses. One license is for development, and another is client license. So I did the previous things using the development license, but it has some limitations. So I cannot keep the license. So I changed the license and again put the client license. So now I'm trying to run the report. Based on these extensions, it's not running. It's saying some permission related message. I'm giving you the message. Just 1 second.
So
You,
the
you
the issue, go ahead.
you do not have the following permission on report ID, execute.
Right. So the only reason is because you develop the app and you publish the app with developer license, which is allowed to build any object between 50,000 and 99,000. But your customer may not have purchased that because you're talking about BC14 on-prem. So they will have to purchase the objects before they use it. Right. So if you create a
Okay.
report on 60,000, ID 60,000, and customer haven't purchased that ID, they will not be able to run that report.
Okay.
So first check customer license, what is their allowed range, and then change your report ID to that number and then publish it again.
How can I check this allowed ID for? Like I am using 50,104.
50,104 is
From license. How can I check it? They allow
So
ranges.
so what you can do, you can upload the license in the database and then create a page on let me think, permission range. Yes, you can create the page on permission range table
Mhm.
and then filter this page on index or yeah, on 999 objects that they have purchased, the IDs that they have purchased. So just create a hello.
Yes, maybe network issue actually. I'm not hearing.
Yeah, I broke it, but I just switched my network. So if you heard it till here, right? That you can create a page on this table and then filter that page with from greater than 50,000 and to less than 99,999, and then you'll see what objects they have purchased.
Okay.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
guess one of your friend have commented on the chat what object range you have purchased, so you can check that. Okay, moving to next question. This is also around Business Central 16. Best approach to do minor changes in standard report like invoice, GL reports, and etc. And I guess we talked about it briefly in the last meeting also. Uh, the only changes that you can do in reports is the layout changes. You cannot change the data set of any report. You can only change the layout. That's the only possibility. Or you can add a new layout in your report. So are you here who asked this question? Let me check. I don't see it. But is there any question around that? That uh, what is allowed in the report side? Okay. The next one is around AL coding guidelines, and I prefer to follow Microsoft guidelines, which are available on MSGN with this link, which talks about best practices for AL code. It it talks from beginning as in what should be a folder structure and how should you name your files for full object or for extension object if you're creating a table extension or a page extension. And then there is one more which talks about more details, and I'll put these in the recording later, which are guidelines for AL code, which is you should always use prefix and suffix. You should use data classification. If it's a multi-language extension that you're building, so you should have translation file. You should make sure that your extension should have permissions that are required. So these are the two links that I normally follow for AL coding guidelines. And these are living document. Microsoft keep on adding into these links as new objects and new procedures are available. So it's a completely keep on changing. So keep book and follow when you are doing AL development. Next is how to debug production environment on SaaS, and there is option to copy production database, but why not production? So I know that you cannot debug in the production environment in SaaS, and I don't know the exact reason, but I can think of a situation where you started the debugger on a production environment and then didn't close it. So it'll kind of keep on waiting on you in the SaaS environment. So I don't think it's Microsoft will even allow it. Maybe they do in future, but right now the only option is that you can create a sandbox, do all your debugging on your sandbox environment, and then fix your issues that you find during debugging, and then deploy that app in your production tenant. The last is still can customize standard objects on SaaS like before. Um, Modifying base object is not allowed in SaaS, and I know everybody knows about it. Everybody know about it. You can only extend and subscribe to event which are available in the base object. Like you can add new fields in tables using table extension, and you can subscribe to database and other trigger related event or integration event published by Microsoft and also by ISVs uh, to customize your processes, but you cannot modify base object on SaaS. There is a possibility on on-prem, but I would not recommend even doing that on on-prem. Let's talk about what's next. Nitin had a question about task scheduler. So the first question is, every once in a while I see that job queue entries in NAV 2018 says, sorry, we just updated this page, reopen and try again. And I'm not successful to fix it. So not sure that why this error message, because I haven't seen it, and I also searched for it today, but I didn't find any relevant article about it. What I would suggest is try to replicate it on a Cronus environment, and if you cannot, then for sure there's a customization which is causing this problem. And review your customizations that you have built around job queue, and you may find the solution for it.
Saurabh,
Yeah.
I experienced this error earlier. So that error is due to the customization current page dot update. What I have seen that.
Yes. Right. Thanks, Manish. It'll surely help, Nitin, I'm pretty sure. But
Great.
yeah, it normally is around customization. The base job queue entry page, I haven't seen any problems like this. The second question that Nitin had is around if job queue entries in NAV 2018, there is ton of entries created for different user for code unit 2161, and I'm not sure how they are created and how to kind of resolve them. So yeah, this is not only 2018. I'm pretty sure it's 2018 and higher. You can see these issues even in Business Central, on-prem and SaaS. And if you guys don't understand what that issue is, here is a screenshot of that issue. I have hidden the user ID, but for every user, somehow there is a calendar execution, event execution entry that gets created into your customer database. If you delete them, they get recreated. So when one of my customer reported it, I figured it out that what it is, and it is actually related to Microsoft invoicing apps and other apps where using Microsoft Graph, Navision, or Business Central is trying to interact. So the way, if you are working on prem and it causes issue, the way I do it is, let me open my nav. The place where I found it is 160 calendar event management, and there is a function in that which is create or update, I guess. Yes, create or update job queue entry. So if you have Prism and you do analysis on Prism, you'll find that this function is being called to create or update the job queue entry if it exists. So this is the piece of code which get called, and all these entries are created from it. So if it bugs you, you can comment it out on-prem. As far as I know, Microsoft recommend not to change it on SaaS version because there is actually a communication happening between different D365 apps, and that's where this calendar event execution is required. So if it troubles you, and if customer calls, raises this question, then you can always comment this piece out on Kill Business Central 14, where Cal was last available, and this will block creation of new job queue entries, and you can delete the existing one. Okay, let's move to the next question. I'm getting multiple emails for a single approval request, and also multiple order numbers is showing in one approval notification. And are you here, Abdush?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I don't know about the multiple emails. It might be that your email address is set on multiple approver in approval user setup. But for multiple orders showing in one approval notification, I would suggest you go and review your notification setup. So there is notification setup here on your approval user setup, and that setup is specific to users. So like this person is notification setup is set as note instantly, and you can always change it that how you want it. And if there are multiple pending ones, they normally seems to be clubbed at once. But if you set it instantly, then as soon as the order or document will require approval, it will send it instantly. If it is set to a different option, then instantly it tries to club all the approval entries. Like if you set daily and set it to any particular weekday or on daily basis, then it'll try to consolidate all the approvals that are required from you, and will send them in one email rather than sending different email. Or the other reason can be that your job queue is running after a longer period of time. So all these approval emails are processed from one of the job queue entries called notification entry dispatcher. So if it is set to run at, let's say, after every 3 hours, so then all the approval requests that were generated in those 3 hours will get consolidated in one email and sent. So check this also, that when this is set up. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it helps. I'll check the job queue. I haven't checked the job queue yet, but I checked the notification setup, email setup, and everything about the notification. But what happening is I'm getting multiple email at once. So, for example, if there are 4 pending approval orders to be approved, I'm getting 4 emails at once, and every email has all the 4 document numbers.
And this is which version?
2018.
2018?
Yeah.
Is there any customization around workflow?
There is one customization around workflow.
So what
We
I
have
what I
created.
would suggest is, first create a Cronus or set up a Cronus environment of 2018 and activate workflow and test with that. That can be the reason that either your customization or you have modified the workflow setup that is comes by default, which is doing this, because by default it always send one email per document, and these emails are completely separate. So the way it works, let me open my, so whenever a approval notification is required, there is an entry created in notification entries table or page, and it always create one entry for one. So if there is an error, that is not sent, but you'll not see multiple entries. Like this one has multiple entries because it was sent twice or rejected. Otherwise it will create a unique entry for each, and then that job queue sends these entries out. Okay, so what I would suggest is first test it out on the Cronus environment, and with complete Cronus workflow, don't change or don't customize anything on the workflow other than your setups and all, and test it out. And if it still bugs you, then we can surely discuss about it more.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's move to next. This is around what? RecordRef. Okay. Oh, this is again from Nitin. So, and he's asking, I don't have an example of what I'm looking for. I have seen other developer using RecordRef, so I want to understand how they work and what is the situation where they should be used, and what are the benefit of using RecordRefs. Okay, so a RecordRef object reference to a particular record in a table. You can point it to a particular table, and typically you use RecordRef data type or object in functions that may apply to more than one table and not on a specific table. So for example, you can use a RecordRef where there's a function which loops through several tables, or as a parameter where you want to handle the situation based on different table IDs. So let's say if you want to block customers and vendors and you don't want to write two functions, you can generalize it by using the RecordRef and then write your code based on RecordRef and fieldRef, and then execute your code. So it's kind of used where you want to handle situations in more generic ways rather than specific to that table. I'll try to come up with a video if possible as soon as possible about this, to kind of explain this concept about RecordRef and fieldRefs. So yeah, I'll wait for it. Next is from Shahid, and he's here, and this is around Indian version, that there is a report voucher print, and what is the equivalent of it in Dynamics 365 BC. Anybody else have any idea? Because I haven't touched Indian version for a while now. So anybody knows a report that matches to voucher print in Business Central?
I don't think there is any anything like that. If Indian version is
what it prints as in?
it's simply it's called vouchers. It simply prints a posted transactions, posted GL entries.
Actually,
So
the journals, accounting journals, it prints the accounting journals, the debit part, then credit part, and there was some additional features in Indian version, like you can write the narrations of every transactions, and those narrations also printed. I mean, there was a very good printed report in Navision 2009 R2 in Indian version.
Okay, yeah, I remember that, but it may not match it, but there is a GL register report, right, which talks about where you can print based on one particular transaction that you have posted. And GL register, let's see what prints out. And GL register number is 149. And preview it. So it may not match to the posted voucher report, but it gives you the detail of that particular transaction that has been posted against that particular GL register. And either you post a journal or a sales or a purchase document, the GL register report is there that you can use.
Yeah, that's I see. But in Bangladesh and in India, actually, we export the vouchers. I mean, the accountant team always made the transactions. Maybe it a purchase order or sales order or any journal. They put printed copy separately for
I know that.
further
Yeah,
usage. So that
yeah.
was very
I don't think that will match to any report in worldwide or any other version of Business Central until unless there is an Indian version available for the product.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is no Indian version.
Right now, yes, and I'm sure somebody's working on it. So yeah, let's see. Next is from Anu, and this is that I have done PDF viewer in Factbox, and it is possible to do Word or Excel viewer. So I have also used it, and I don't know that you used one from Kafman where he talks about how you can render your PDFs in your Business Central environment. And let me show it to others if they haven't seen it. Where is it? Where is my browser? Okay, here it is. So this is, I guess, what Anu is talking about. There's a PDF viewer extension built by Kafman, which can show you PDFs within your client. And he have given all the details, how he built it, and what type of library he used, where he hosted it on Azure and all. So I'm pretty sure that if there is a PDF viewer, uh, library that he found, which is PDF.js, this one, 2.9403, there will be something which can show you Word and Excel that you want. I don't know exactly where it is, but I'm pretty sure this will be available somewhere, like this example which he have on his blog. And he have given all the details that how he did it, what he had to change on that. So you can always review his blog, and if you find a viewer for um Excel and Word, you can implement that same in the same way that he have done it. But yeah, I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll see it someday when a customer will require it. But right now I haven't seen it. Okay, so next one is from Sahid again, which is what is the best way of customize a report in Business Central? So Sahid, as I said earlier, customizing report is very limited, which is only about the layout part.
Can I take for just few seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you explained previously. That was very good. So my regarding this question, I have few specific point. Like I have migrated the reports from BC to AL environment, and using that AL code, I customize the report in Visual Studio Code. So here I can add the columns needed as my requirement, and also the data sets. But like some data sets are referenced, like for dimensions. Purchase header, we have global dimensions, project, and others, another one. So I like to bring the project name and the project name in the report header. So what is the, I mean, base code to write this code, this specific need?
You need to bring the dimension name, you said. Is
Yes,
that correct?
yes.
So if you have the dimension code, you can always get the or use a get statement on the dimension value table, and then use an, kind of get the name of it. So let me see if I have something open. Yeah, I have something open. So let's assume that I have a variable of dimension dim value, which is pointing to record dimension values. So if I have the dimension code, you can always get the name from using a code, right? It's not that hard. Let me try adding a trigger validate, let's say. So if I have this variable here, which have, let's say, a code, let's say dim code, whatever your variable is, of code size 20. And I know this is dim value 1. So you can get the dimension value 1 from your journal ledger setup. Record setup. So if you say my setup.get, and then you can get journal ledger setup dot, if it is shortcut dimension 1 or 2 or 5 or 6, whatever you want, you can get that value. Yeah, so shortcut dimension 1 and global dimension 1 are same, right?
Yeah.
So this becomes my dim code, which is my dimension code, let's say project in your case. And then you need a dim value code, which is your dimension code, dimension value that is assigned to it. So dim value code is also code 20. So let's say you have a value on dim value code as ABC. Okay. So now you know in dim code you have project, and in dim value code you have ABC. So then you can go to your, let me make it different, dimension value table. Do a get based on your dim code, which is your dimension code, and your dim value code, which is your dimension value. So this will give you the dimension value record, and then if you need name, you can always use dimension value, not name. This will give you the name of that dimension value. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Actually, that's the perfect one. What I did this get, but directly using the shortcut code from the purchase header or customer sales header. So that is not global.
There is the value of that. There is not the code. So dimension value table is primary keys dimension code and the code. Okay. So the code is what is stored in your purchase or your sales document. Okay. That becomes your code. But the dimension code, you will get it from your journal ledger setup.
Yes.
Okay. So and a combination of these, when you apply it on dimension value table, you will get the unique record of your dimension value, and then you can use the name there.
Many thanks.
Okay. So we still have 20 minutes, and I guess these were the questions that I received till yesterday. I know there are some questions posted today, but I was busy today to add them into this meeting. So anybody have any questions? I can try answering those. Should we start from top maybe?
Yes, sir. From my end, one question is there.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Actually, I am the .NET developer. So recently I started working on the Business Central actually. So I am in the learning stage of Business Central and the AL coding and everything. So in my practice things, and myself had a requirement like that. I want to modify a customer record or item record. Whenever it is modified, immediately I want to open that record immediately after the modification. So that type of requirement I made myself, but I am trying, but I am not getting that. Is there any suggestion from your side?
Whenever a customer record is modified, you want to open it, as in the customer card.
Yeah, that record I want to open.
But that's, you might have to rethink the example that you want to use, because a customer can be modified from n number of places, not just from your code, right?
Yeah,
There
so
can be a
I
base
will
Microsoft. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I will tell my scenario to you. So I created a sample page. So I have one action like insert, modify, delete like that. So when I click
Mm-hmm.
on the modify, so I executing one of the code unit procedure. In that through code, I am modifying the name and address of the customer. So it is
Mm-hmm.
modifying and I am calling the modify function of the customer record. So it is
Okay.
modifying. When I check the customer list, it is modifying. But I'm thinking that so whenever it is modified, it will open that record immediately in the
So you can
Business Central UI. Yeah,
open the card from the code. That's not a problem. As in, uh, let
yeah.
me think on. There are possibility that you can use to kind of load a card page or a list page if you want. So let's say if I have to open my customer card. So this is my record for customer table, and then this is my customer card, which is pointing to my page, customer card. And then you can always on your action make sure that your customer record is pointing to that record that you have modified. Let's say in this case, just I'm filtering it only to point to my customer number 10,000 or 1,000. Yeah, 10,000. Okay. So I can always say that my customer card, which is my page type of record, dot set record or set table view with that table, which where my variable where my record is already filtered. Okay. Once your table view is done, you can always run that page, or run model, and it'll open that page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sir. I got it. I will try and check that.
Okay, sounds good. So, Abdosh, you have any questions?
I do not have any questions specific to NAB or BC at this moment, but I have a general question about um, um, outsourcing development tasks. So it's also to you and to other members of this group also. So we have a small company. I have a small company in Bangladesh, and we do implementation for NAB and Business Central only. But we have scarcity of resources in our country. The market is very small here for NAB. That's why we are struggling to build our resource as well. So I was wondering if there is anyone in this group who is willing to work with me for a project in our country, uh, obviously in remote, uh, but it can be on-prem as well if that is necessary.
Okay, yeah. If anybody's interested, they can get his contact details from me. That's and then Amandeep, you have any questions?
No, I'm good. Thanks. So,
Okay. And then Jignesh, you have any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Saurabh, when I have question related to report development for Business Central.
Okay.
Recently, I have modifying standard report and making a custom report in the as an extension. But when we save the report layout, if there is any error, so it is Microsoft is not providing any way to show the error when saving the report layout. Uh, in the KL, when I'm saving the report, if there is any error, so system is not allowing to save that report before we resolve the error. So in the AL, there is no any way that system showing when I'm running the report. At that time, system giving the error that this is the error. Before, like while developing, system is not showing. Is there any way we can have this? You have any like way to we can have the error at while we develop the report?
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying, and I guess I know the reason why it is not doing it, but I haven't thought about finding a way to generate that error message. But I'll think about it. It makes sense. And the reason it doesn't happen because in AL these are two different files,
Yeah, yeah,
and in CAL word they were, whenever you were saving your layout, it was actually getting stored inside your database. So it was able
yes,
to check for compilation issues or anything wrong that you have done in your layout.
yeah,
But now they are
yeah,
completely two individual files which are just linked by a property. So I
yes.
do understand
RDS
why this
layout.
error is, yeah, this becomes a problem. I'll think about it. If I find
Yeah.
something, I'll surely let discuss it in
Just
under meetings.
I give you the like if I'm adding a one fresh report that is standard sales invoice, I'm adding a custom field that is I'm adding in the RDLC layout, not adding a data set in the AL file.
Right.
So system
Agree.
showing the error while I'm executing the report that this data set is not available for this text box or something. But while I'm saving the file, it is not giving as we discussed that it is a both separate file. But Microsoft think about this issue like we are developing the many like complex report or something. So while I need to execute the report, getting there, I need to changing the file. That is
Agree.
just
That makes
give you
sense.
that. Yeah, yeah,
That makes sense. But yeah, I'll have to think about it because it's the report development tool or that you use can be used to develop reports for n numbers of softwares, not only Business Central. Like you can build a report that can run on the data set that's coming from SQL reporting services, right? So
mm,
I don't know how it's possible, but I'll surely give it a try. And if I find something, I'll surely let it know or maybe write about it if it's possible.
okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Uh,
And I
Saurav, I
see
have one
that.
question. Yeah, proceed.
Okay, yeah, I'll maybe come. I'll visit everybody. Don't worry. If if we run out of time, I'll stay for 10-15 minutes extra if required. Tanya, you had a question. You put that
Yes,
on
sir.
chat. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Hello, sir. Actually, sir, it is apart from a Docker, and so it's like I was configuring the Business Center 16. So there is one thing when you configure for the authentication, right? There are credential types. There is
Mm-hmm.
Windows, it's have user password and username. So I wanted to configure. I was basically configuring for nav user password. I'm using Business Center 16 on-prem, and
Mm-hmm.
while I was doing so, there are two mandatory things which has to be taken care of. Is as to the credential type has to be same for the server and the client. So in
Right.
the right, so in the server tier, as in the instance, I also already changed there. I changed the credential type as in the nav user password, and then there is one thing also. What do you call that? Certificate thumbprint. So I made an
Right.
SSL certificate as well, and I put that thumbprint. And there is one more thing where for there is some that what do you call that, nav settings .json file.
Right.
Right. So, so obviously for this web client user, that location has been changed, right? That is in C drive and the init pub www root, and then the whatever the name of your instance VC6,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I changed that as well. But when I'm running it now, when I just published it, it was then again showing me there's a client, what do you call, there's a mismatch between the communication between the client and the server. So I don't know where was I failing apart from all the changes I did. So yeah, I wanted to know if there another some settings apart from this which has to be done.
So, uh, how many services you have mapped to that database? Is it
Just
one or
only one,
multiple?
one, one,
Okay.
one. Yeah.
So then that's the only place where you'll have to change it. Those are the
Okay.
only two places where you'll have to change it.
Right.
The only thing that I would suggest, and I haven't done it in Business Central 16, but let's have a look on it. There's a nav setting.json,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can always come to this path by going to your IIS and then
Yeah.
choosing your,
Yeah.
browse or
Yeah. Yeah.
explore, right?
Yeah.
So once you are there, let's
And I just
open
had
this.
one doubt as well, that do you even need to change in your launch day, .json file in this solution? Because
Uh,
I'm
no,
confused.
so the other thing that you might want to look is, instead of changing it on your launch.json,
Mm-hmm.
let me open my service panel if I can. Okay, yes. So on your service tier, there is a setting which talks about default web client URL.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that is what is used by your AL code to
Right.
publish or to run it.
Right.
So when you come here and choose this, let's see if there is one. So on your client service, there is a web client base URL.
Yep.
This is where you'll have to change. You don't have to change anything. Make sure that this is set, and if this is
Yeah.
set, your
So
VS
yeah.
code will
So the,
understand.
here you have that local host, right? Local host colon 8080 something, and then your name of the
Right,
service, right?
right.
So this is
Or
for
you can always refer, click on this, and then drag it down. And here are some samples that Microsoft provides you.
right.
One more thing, yeah, you said about the certificate, I forgot about it. You also have to bind your certificate to your website. So the way you do it is, let me see where it is, binding, advanced setting. There is a binding somewhere. Let me see if I find it.
Actually,
Select.
there is I think it's there in when you click on this Microsoft Dynamics.
I think
Yes.
you have to do it on main website and you are
Yeah.
currently doing it. Yeah.
Main website. Here you have binding.
Okay. Yeah. So here you can add that binding with that a specific port that you're using and all. So those are the three places that you'll have to change it. One is on your config file, second
Yeah.
on the nav setting.json, and if I'm not wrong, there are two parameter. One is this, where you choose nav user password,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then there is one more, which is your uh, where is that DNS identity? Yeah, this
DNS
parameter.
identity.
Yeah,
So what do you? I don't have no idea about it. The DNS or
the
the
DNS
subject.
or the subject name of the server certificate. So here you put your thumbprint. You can there is a old blog. I'll have to find that link. But I have tried it in an older version where I've defined all these parameters. What I'll do is
Actually,
I'll go ahead.
I did it in 2013. I did it 2013 R2. It was perfectly. It's working perfectly fine. But for the new Business Central, I think there are some changes. Okay, so there's one more file here, launch.json, right?
Hmm.
So there is one parameter, this authentication. This currently, this is right now authentication. Currently I'm using it Windows. Do I need to change
No,
here
you'll have
also?
to change. Yes, yes. This
So
should match to your service tier setting.
but the strange part is, here you just have three parameters. There's Windows, there's user password, and one is AAD. So which one
Right.
should I use it? User
So you'll
password.
use user password.
I did with
A
that.
Yeah,
AD
yeah, correct.
AAD is
User
for
password is the right one.
yeah.
I did with
A,
this also. It is not working.
okay, so let me try it out.
Yeah.
You are doing it on your local, right? So let me
Yeah.
try it out. I'll maybe do a write up on it and put it somewhere.
Just one thing I would like to add here is
Yeah, yeah.
like make sure that you have correct server URL and server instance. Sometime like you have server instance name like BC and there is default BC 160, and sometime there is space between your container name, and that might be causing problem. So you have to re-verify those.
All right.
Yeah. The so first thing I would do when I change this is I'll run the client. I'll not come to the development environment. I'll first run the client. If I'm able to run the client, then we can talk about how you develop extension on top of it. Once you change the setting, you should be able to run the client. If you cannot, then there is something wrong in your setting somewhere.
And what about this DNS identity? I don't know. I have not worked with it yet.
I'll
But
let me work through it maybe tomorrow if it's possible, and
all
I'll
right,
I'll put it somewhere.
all right. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So let me go back and Keshav, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Manish.
Uh, yes, sir. So, my question is that I just need to have a custom message while sending the email. So, if I send a email from a posted sales invoice, so what happen exactly? The report layouts comes in the body of the mail. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be a custom message. I tried with the body custom layout report selection, but it didn't work in Business Central. So how can I do that?
Okay, let me mute Tanya and then I'll maybe show you. Where is my yeah? Anybody who has to leave, sorry for that. We are a little bit delayed, but anybody who has to leave, feel free. It's you can leave whenever you want. I'll just check. Yeah. So I was doing something on the similar line for a customer. So maybe that'll help. Okay. Okay. So right now the situation that I had is on my custom report layout. My customer was using the standard US report, which is 10074, to send out emails.
Okay.
as an attachment, and they wanted a body. Okay.
Right.
So I
Right.
just
Right.
added a world layout, which is pretty simple, not that complex per se. So let me see if I can download that. Export layout. Let's get exported. And here it is, that what I was trying to generate, which is hello, then the address or the name from bill to address one, and then address detail, and then details, and then detail of your document, right?
Right.
So this is my layout, and then what I did is the report selection sales in this case is on invoice. I made sure that my email is selected here, the layout that
Okay.
I want. So the attachment will be this report, RDLC
Mhm.
layout per se, and the email body will come from this.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So now
is it
go ahead.
mandatory to create a report for a body?
If you don't, then it will use the same report which is attached there. And it's a
Okay.
world layout. It's not a kind of report. You can have just a message hi on a world layout and then
Right.
use it. So when this customer comes here and uses, where is this? Let me open that. More option, action, and email. It will, what it is doing is it is using 10074, which is the RDLC layout,
Mm-hmm.
as, and this may be not the right one because this is the other one. Let me choose another one. Same customer. Okay. Email. So what it does, it saves the 10074 as attachment, and whatever was
Okay.
in my world layout is using this as my email body. You can create
Okay.
empty email bodies. You can just type free text. You don't have to map it to the data set if you don't want to. You can just
Mm-hmm.
write free text and then upload it on the custom report layout. And once you do that, that will be picked from the system.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
open this attachment, it will be completely different than the body. It's actually the 10074 report.
Great. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Great. And one more question is that I was trying to use Power App. So how I can use it in the Business Central? Because I tried to create a Power App, and but there's no way to link in the Business Central, the customized one.
So Power App, you can use the Business Central as the data source, right? From where it picks the data.
Right.
You can't add it inside the Business Central, but it's a outside thing, as in where you can read the data from your Navision or Business Central database and then
Mm-hmm.
use that form to do something. If
Okay.
you have to
So
write back something, then you should use APIs to to invoke the to call the API from your Power App, which writes the data back in Navision.
okay. So my aim was for the Power App development was to scan the barcode. So the feature I developed on the Power App, but I was unable to use on the Business Central. So is there any default feature where I can use the scanning of barcode in Business Central?
um I'm not sure about uh, the Business Central. I'll have to go back and check, but there is something called as ADCS in Nav, right? Which used to do same thing. Yeah, it's there, I guess. So you, and this is on US database, so I don't know which country you are
Yes, I'm
using.
working on the same. Yes.
So read more about ADCS. ADCS is used for reading and writing from the guns to Nav.
Okay. Surely I'll do
So
that.
I have used it in Nav for sure, and it used to map in warehouse employees, that you can map the ADCS against each user. Yeah, it's still there. And then there is a configuration behind it, how it links, and it does it using web services. So read
Okay.
more about it. This, this is something which I didn't knew when I was working for Indian customers, but in US it's pretty common. ADCS is pretty common.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. And Nishant, any questions?
No, I'm good now.
Okay. Rohan,
Yes, sir, I have a question.
go ahead.
When we run a page, can we change the caption for a particular condition?
When you run a page, then
Yes,
can
sir.
you change the caption of the page or to a field?
For field.
You want to change the caption of a field, and it's different every time, or you want it to be a static, like you want to call description as name, let's say?
Sir, it should be different every time. For a
Every
particular
time it
condition.
should be different.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
For a particular
Not
report,
too
it
good.
should be different.
For a particular report
The code, yes, sir.
or page?
Uh, like, sir, this is a 1000 item, and the number is same. Our next we click on the next button, then it should be number 1, like this.
No, you want it first. Let me go back. Do you want it on a page or on a report?
On a page.
On page. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's repeat it. When I'm on number and say 1000, then
Then it should
yours.
be like Rohan. And if we next report, then it should be like your name, Saurabh.
Oh, so this thing need to change, not this thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, only number. This thing. Only
Caption.
caption.
Okay. That's an interesting one. Let me think about it, because I know you can change it in personalize or design. Maybe let me do design so that I can see the code. Done. And okay. Design. And I know I can change it to something. Field or action and page. Okay, let's remove. There was a way. Oh, I can only change these. I am not sure, man, that you can change it. The only thing that you can do, and I don't know it works in Business Central or not, but or it should be. Let me have a look. But let me give you an idea, and then you can try it out. So when you go to any of the base table where there are dimension fields, okay, like shortcut dimension 1 and 2, they never show you as shortcut dimension 1 and 2. They show you differently, right? They
Yes, sir.
actually show the caption is visible as whatever the dimension will be, and that is based on this property called caption class.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
And this translate it to the global dimension 1, and there is a code unit which I don't remember now. Earlier it used to be in code unit 1. Dimension caption class management. I guess this is what it is. It's all caption. So yeah, this is an example, or this is kind of the code which is used by standard Microsoft to change the caption of that field than what it is on the table or what it is on the page using this property. Maybe you
Okay.
can do something around it. I'm not sure what you want to do, but I hope this will give you an idea, and then you can try it out using this property, what is possible and what is not.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thanks, man. And Shahid, any other questions?
No, maybe in next session.
Next session? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else have any questions, or otherwise I'm good for today and we can leave?
So one small thing. So we have a like company badge setting in the business center. So, but it is as of now it is limiting for only from 4 to 5 characters only. So,
Right.
can we increase that? Can we wait for Microsoft update on that?
You can create an idea on Microsoft website, and if that idea gets more vote, Microsoft may think to change it. So I know I think everybody knows about this idea website from Microsoft, right?
Yeah,
So
ideas.com.
try registering your idea in that portal, and let's see what happens with that.
Yeah, sure, sir. We'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. Thank you
Okay.
so much for doing such a great job. So we are all clearing our doubts, and we are happy to attend these sessions, and especially for beginners like me. So it is very clearing all my things actually. So, thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Welcome. Okay, so what I have promised is to Tanya that I'll work on one of the Business Central 16 nav username password concept. I'll test it out, and I said one more thing to someone. Let me think. Yeah, I guess it was Jignesh who talked about disconnect between RDLC layout and the AL report code or data set. And the compilation issue is not being generated while we are trying to save it. So I'll research on those two topics, and if something comes out, I'll let you know. Thank you all. Enjoy your
Thank you.
weekend. Yeah, and see you then.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Saurav. Thank
Okay.
you all.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
Bye.